of one of our vloggers here, but if an opinion is offered, a way to probably convince others, and offering it as a matter of fact, then I guess this committee would be having trouble as to distinguishing those two things. I guess that's where the problem between Congressman Marcoleta and one of the vloggers here. Mr. Chair, the power of social media was actually tested in 2001. It was not directed against individual. It actually pinned down the regime. Remember in 2001, during the Arab Spring, the power of Facebook actually, Mr. Chair, brought down more than 3 decades of regime under the Mubarak in Egypt. It's actually composed of young people pulling themselves, coming out and then asking for a change in Egypt. And actually, they used Facebook as a platform to bring down one of the most powerful regime in the Middle East. So, hindi lang ho ganun ka-powerful po ang media, ang social media, ang Facebook in particular. In fact, in the Facebook, yung mga active users, it reaches a point where if it's likened to a country, it's even more populated than China. Yung mga active users po. So, ganun po ka-powerful ngayon ang social media, mga social media platforms. I'm talking about Facebook. I was listening earlier, Mr. Chair, to the exchanges between Congresswoman Luistro and our DICT. Mr. Chair, I would just like to I'll lay down the premise. If you remember back in 2017, and most of us here are victims of fake news or sinasabi nilang information disorder. Being a politician, that's already part of our job. I mean, that's already expected of us, that once you enter into politics, you automatically earn an enemy. No? It's impossible for you. Sabi nga kanina ni Manong Benny, he quoted saying from, sino to, kay Prime Minister Churchill. Alam ko, may sinabi si Churchill, a man without an enemy is made up of nothing. So, pag pumasok po kayo dyan sa politika, talagang automatic, meron kayong enemy. Sa mga members po dito, lahat po tayo naging biktima ng fake news. But to tell you a story, ako po hindi lang big victim ng fake news. Biktima rin ako because ng isang threat that was actually made by some vloggers in 2017. Remember, during the Marawi siege, one local vlogger who happens to be connected with the political party came out with this fake news na ako daw, si Senator Bam Aquino, former Senator Bam Aquino, and former Senator Trillanes, and my brother, which was then the Vice Governor, Bombit Adyong, nag-usap-usap daw kami at kinausap namin ang Dawla Islamia para atakihin ng Marawi City. So, it actually came out online, and what's so surprising is that former Secretary of Justice, Aguirre, came out with a statement and believing in that fake news. Lumabas no less than the Secretary of Justice. Ganun po ka problematic, ganun po ka grabe yung fake news to a point that a certain public official may believe in that distorted information. Wala akong katotohanan nun. Fortunately, sabi nga ni Ms. Tiquia, we have to go and answer this and correct all this false information. Yun po ang ginawa namin. Immediately when the statement came out, we went publicly and then rectified, kinorek po namin na di tama. And yeah, subsequently, former Secretary Aguirre apologized and rectified his statement. Ganun po ka lala. Pangalawa, Facebook was also used as a means to propagate. Actually, mayroon pong binigay na patong sa ulo ko during the siege. It was actually also used by violent extremists. That's why I was listening to Congresswoman Jinky. If this is continue to be unmonitored, it may border to national security threat because the platforms, the social media platforms, are also being used by the entry of violent extremists. Kasi nasa third generation warfare na po tayo, gumagamit na po sila, sophisticated na rin po ang pag-recruit nila. Meron pong nakapatong sa ulo ko na for certain million kung pwede, may ano nga sila, Mr. Chair meron na nga ho silang, they came out with the fatwa. I'm sure many of you are aware of what is fatwa is, na pwede na akong patayin. No? Kasi I was speaking on behalf of the government and denouncing the organization who made and entered Marawi City and attack our city. So ibig sabihin ganun po kalala. Though personally lahat po tayo biktima, but ako alam ko how bad if unmonitored and yung mga pumapasok pong mga fake news, kung hindi ho natin yun ma-stop, talagang hindi lang ho nagkukos yan sa personal reputation attack ng tao. It even can be used to actually cause harm or death to an individual because I've experienced that firsthand. Now, I'd like to ask po a certain follow-up. Those are simple questions lang po, Mr. Chair. Kanina po I was listening to Philippines, ano ba yun? Press 1 Philippines investigation. Umalis na ba?
They left already. They just left, Congressman Chong.
Okay. Narinig naman natin DICT yung kanilang presentation po, no? DICT, yes. I don't know if DICT o sa ano? Yes. So, they were able to gather all these mga accounts, no? And they said na meron mga peddlers, meron mga amplifiers, if you want to use that word. Parang pagkaintindi ko is there's a source from a foreign country and then ito yung mga gumagawa sila ng mga narrative against or at least to demean our claim over certain areas in the sea, West Philippine Sea in particular, and then pinipedal sa baba or binag-magnify. They were able to gather all these accounts. How may I ask? I believe this is a private company and they belong to a private sector. But may I know if the ICT would also be able to gather? Do we have the capacity to probably get all of these informations? Kasi kung if we listen to their presentation, it borders, number one, it can constitute into treason, into rebellion, because they're propagating something which is inimical to the interest of our national security. And so I'm just wondering how do we be able to at least police. Sabi nga ni Congresswoman Jinky Luiso kanina, if it's a continuing crime being committed, why is there no arrest ever made? So gusto ko, I just want to find out from the ICT.
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may, with regard to the question of Congressman Ajong, earlier during our presentation, we mentioned that the DICT, along with other government agencies, are looking into how certain individuals and certain accounts are helping amplify campaigns against the government. And yes, we have reported also in the past, including some press conferences, that we are aware that certain Chinese influences who claim to be US-based strategy outlets or consultancy firms, yung iba nga ginagaya pa yung westernized, I would call it westernized names of publications, parang ginagaya nila. Then they parrot the line of
Pero I think yung presentation po, Mr. Che, kanina nung isa sa mga yung Press 1 Philippines, meron parang feeling ko may na-identify sila ng mga accounts dito
Meron, Your Honor, but we don't want to. Sinabi ko rin po kanina, we are willing to discuss in executive session.
Okay.
These are all.
But you do have the data and the information of all of
We have
these.
some information. I think the and we do share this information to our.
But you don't need a